Good morning, my name is Keith Condrich and I'm the Executive Director for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul here in the Diocese of Pittsburgh. And for today's Monday meditation, I'd like to talk a little bit about joy and our tendency as Christians and as human beings to always look at the dark side rather than the joyful side of life. And of course, we are inundated every day with bad news. CNN, Fox News, Twitter, whatever social media sites you subscribe to, whatever news outlets, newspapers, news shows that you watch, it just seems like it's a constant attack on any reason to be joyful in our lives. And the gospel tells us exactly the opposite. And it's difficult, I think, for us as Christians to maintain a sense of joy, but that's exactly what we're called to do. In his apostolic exhortation entitled The Joy of the Gospel, Pope Francis tells us this. It's a beautiful reflection, and I really recommend that if you haven't read it, to go online or to pick up a copy through Amazon or your local bookstore. It's one of the most beautiful and powerful statements on Christian joy that you'll ever read in your life, and I think it will provide great inspiration and great hope to you in your journey. But this is what Pope Francis says. He says, "We must disagree with those prophets of doom who are always forecasting disaster, as though the end of the world were at hand. There are Christians whose lives seem like Lent without Easter." Don't you just love that line? I think it really captures the trap that so many of us fall into too often, that we forget that there is a resurrection. We forget that we are people of the resurrection. We are people of eternal life, of eternal chances, of eternal love. So joy is something that we need to constantly be cultivating in our lives. And I think part of that starts with changing the way we approach life, changing just the way we look at life. I want to just share a quick story that I think may help to illustrate how we change our attitudes, how we redefine the way we look at the world around us. Because if we define the world by the news that we see every day, then we are going to be people of despair. We are going to be people who lose hope. So let me just share this quick story, this experience I had when my eldest son was young. You know, he was learning to play baseball, and I'm not very athletic and I'm not very good, and I would help him as much as I could, but he'd often be practicing in the backyard by himself. And like many children do, he'd take the ball, throw it in the air, and swing the bat. And one particular evening I was watching him from the back porch, and he wasn't aware that I was there, and I could see him out there practicing. And of course, as any father would, I'm internally cheering him on, like really hoping he's going to hit that ball, slam it out of the backyard. So he takes the ball and he throws it in the air and he swings and he misses. And he says, "Strike one." And of course I'm thinking, no big deal. He's got two more shots at this. Picks up the ball, throws it in the air, swings, and he misses again. And he says, "Strike two." And of course my heart's starting to get a little anxious, and I'm hoping, again, like any parent would, that come on, hit that ball, hit it. I want you to feel good. I don't want you to despair about playing baseball, right? So for the third time, he picks up the ball, throws it up in the air, swings as hard as he can, and he misses. And he gets a big smile on his face, and he says, "Strike three. Will Condrich pitches a perfect game. The greatest pitcher in the history of baseball. Another strikeout." I kind of laughed, I kind of chuckled, but it was a great lesson for me because his attitude wasn't that he was not a good batter. He just pretended like he was a great pitcher. It's all how we see the world. It's all how we orient ourselves, orient our vision. There are so many things in our world to be excited and joyful and hopeful about. You don't have to look very far to see them. Again, in his apostolic exhortation, The Joy of the Gospel, Pope Francis says this: "One of the more serious temptations which stifles boldness and zeal is defeatism, which turns us into disillusioned pessimists," or in Pope Francis' words, big theological term here, Pope Francis says, we turn into sourpusses. Sourpusses, that's Pope Francis. We have to constantly be on our guard not to lose joy, not to project despair and hopelessness. Our world is short on hope. Our world is short on joy. As Christians, we are called to share the joy of the gospel with everyone we encounter, because we know the end of the story. Despite how dark it might seem right now in our world, we know that Christ is victorious, Christ is risen, and Christ will indeed come again. God bless you and have a great week.